Mishas America can be a catcher or say you ba wiase na uni papa why papa and a be pampa or more tia that is pampa if you are now ba wiase be papa nanso ni papa ka se wo sempa if se uni papa nti da bia me ka se nhiranka papa o kire me kasa e ma me te kasa me na me gire wanu ma me kasa na ne ye frɛ me adasa nhiranka papa o kire me bone fache na msua bone fache na mi gire wanu ma me nsem me ne wo che ni me na me gamanche misre sa me fuma mo fanche ne ne menche efse tre nyanti ye ye beso ache nchiranka papa onya kokuduro na me ma me nyemme wa ma na duro ne ne ye frem wotia na nkanuro nchiranka papa me minti obede ka na ne namfofo nyina ne ne yaka na ode ahomte tu free Africa enne wakopi America a wakoka nchiranka papa o ma mi koko no wie o to madonko e ma mi koto nko me kai minimini okonko nchiranka papa wan sunsum yanko sum mama manko sum na ne migina wanu ma mesre na mi nsum papa ne mu nyina moya ade na matre ya odopa sunsum amode ta ya chi me nei ya benya opepa ntine ne ya mama wodai papa ne mu nyina se mukura mu ni fia me kai na se mu ndidi ya ye ntimi ndidi ntwan mu dise ye di ye papa aduanyaka na chese papa mu edu sam na wo se ye kakam ewom se mani bi keka se de papa betima ye omo so betima ye nanso oba ntimi nyem oba dise be ma na nyem oba papa no mu nyina ye mamtiri nkwa ho de oni papa mesra wo se hyedin nanso ya ye wo papa na ye papa mu tiase ye mamtiri nkwa papa no mo ye bi Yankopon bo ade ni fiti asem kura ma ne hunu se obo be ma no de be ma mfen ene bo oba de a ne se papa mu ni sunsum ane mo kata ye kire o tena nkura ndo na na kwa amya dasa me na ejansa a o te nkuransa o yere mansa ene oba nkansa me ma mu nyina tiri nkwa opanyin Karim a wotia wo kai me ni ajenim se o ka se da ache obenyini no obedi nkunim okura na unim enti anei Samo hweye na mutie ya papa mu nyina e ma mutiri nkwa happy Father's Day piao.
Right. Kami Adasa, thank you very much for that spoken word. Of course, yes, thank you. Always Adasa. But Papa, I won't even try it. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It's AM Club on MX24 TV. We are live. And it's that time to have that conversation about fathers. We are celebrating here on MX24 TV Father's Day ahead of the celebration itself on Sunday. And my pastor always says something that if you're a man and you don't have kids yet, you're still a boy, no matter how old you are. So on the panel this morning, there are 2 boys and 1 man. And 1 man also over Zoom. So joining me this morning, Ira Adams Karim, social entrepreneur. Good morning, bro.
Good morning, Senior.
Welcome. Alikem Kumoji, no new face, fashion designer and actor, my colleague. And then joining us via Zoom is, like I said, one of my favorite people on earth, Richard Akita. He's a counselor, author, and an entrepreneur as well. Good morning. I want to be sure that, yes, Richard is with us via Zoom. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Godwin. Good morning, team.
Hello, sir.
Happy Father's Day in advance.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
And
Richard.
I don't know who the boy is, but happy Father's Day to all of you.
The boy is Karim and I. I'd like to ask you first. I'd like to start with you, Richard. First of all, the basic question, and I'd like to understand from your perspective, who is the father? I ask this because sometimes on Mother's Day, you hear people saying, or on Father's Day, some people wish their mothers happy Father's Day because there are women who play the role of both mothers and fathers. So I'd like to know, honestly, who a father is. Is this someone who has a child, someone who's taking care, who's a guardian, is taking care of someone, or just, yes, a man who has a kid?
Well, a father is first a hero. He is one who is sacrificial, one who also looks out for the child and spends time to invest in that child. So becoming a mentor. A father is one who dedicates and sacrifices almost all that he has for his children. Every man has a capacity or capability of becoming a father. And once we've deposited, we are fathers. But when we stay and we commit, then fathering becomes a calling.
So a father is not necessarily someone who has a child, basically. By your standard, dear, we will not have a lot of fathers in this country. But thank you for that. Let me come back to the studio. Richard, please hold on for me, and let me talk to Elikem Kumoji. Bro, I mean, I've known you from campus days, School of Performing Arts, Theatre Arts Department. Let me ask you, have you always wanted to have children?
Yes.
Always?
Always. My father, he was such an amazing father, made me want to become like him. You know how maybe people want to become like your Despite or your SP or your Elon Musk. People want to become like a Stoneball. I wanted to become like my father. You know, his drive, his hard workingness. Like I literally see myself walking in Makola and Kantamanto like my father did, and sweating. And I just love the look. And so I wanted to become a father, you know, because my father was such an amazing father. Just that.
How many do you have now?
3.
3 kids.
And counting.
How many more to come?
Maybe a couple more.
A couple is how many?
2.
Oh, so
What's
2?
a couple? Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you mean a couple literally?
Literally. I'm not one of those people who say a couple and I mean 10.
You mean like, okay.
Literally a
so
couple.
5 kids. You like a
5
large
in
family.
total will be.
Did you grow up in a large family?
Yes, quite a large family. My mother had 7, lost 2.
Ooh.
My father has about 9, I think, altogether. Yeah, so we're quite a large family. Very united front as brothers and sisters. My father died interstate about some 20 years ago. So no will was written whatsoever, but there's so much understanding amongst us. There's no fighting. Everything is shared. And one of our brothers might rent and chop the money, but, you know, we'll still forgive him. But we're very united as brothers and sisters. And again, it's growing up in a situation like this that makes me want to have a family similar and even better.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hold on to that. Karim, is your father alive?
Yeah, my dad's alive. He'll be 73 in September.
Oof. Yeah. Happy Father's Day to him. 73. Yeah. That's something to look forward to. How would you say, you personally, first of all, do you want to have kids?
Of course.
do you want to have a large family like Elikem?
So for me, it depends. So my father, one of the conversations I usually have with my father is that he says, if you can afford it, have as many as you can.
Very important.
If you can't
afford it, have as many as you can.
If you can't, have those you can take care of. I mean, I was telling you earlier that my father has 9 kids, and I happen to be the last of my father's kids. So you can...
Some big brothers and sisters.
Yeah. So they actually have more big sisters because he has 7 girls, and we're just 2 boys.
2 boys.
You know, so yeah, that's the kind of family I grew up in. And of course, I had an amazing dad, and just like Elikem, yes, I also have been growing up wanting to be like my father, because at a point, we had all 9 of us living, you know, under the same roof with our father. So our father literally took care of us. That's not to say our mothers didn't play a role. Of course, our mothers were there, but we were mostly with our dad. And my father has more than 9 kids, if I should put it that way. Not 9 literal kids, but he was taking care of other people's children.
9 biological, and then the rest.
And so many other people.
Father of many nations.
Exactly. So that's the kind of person my father was. And so we grew up together with so many other cousins and, you know, and all of that, living under the same roof. And life was beautiful. And so sometimes when you sit back and you look at all of the things that you witnessed growing up, having everybody together, eating from the same bowl, you know, sitting together at night to talk. Right? So that's the kind of environment that I grew up in. And so I've always wanted to be around, you know, that kind of environment. So even where I live now, I live with my sister in a house. Yeah, we sit together, we eat from the same bowl with the kids and everybody. And it's just so nice and beautiful. And so you're wondering, when I have my own kids, you know, is this how it's going to be? And, you know, that sense of community, that sense of belonging, and you know, that sense of wanting to be responsible for somebody and ensuring that the person, you know, grows up or comes up how you want them to come up. I think that's just...
It not be small job, though. It not be big, so they work hard, rough.
Such a delight.
I almost use the F word to show the intensity of how serious the work is to be a father. Yeah. It's a job and a half. It's harder than any other job on earth. And so if you also need to become successful so that you can make money to take care of the children, you need to juggle between work life and family life, and that's the balance.
I like that you've
That's
introduced
hard.
that to the conversation. Perhaps it's time for us to go there. But Karim, where you have gotten today, you can start having like 4.
You see,
Like by now, you can manage 4, and then when you get there, you go add
Then
like
I will add
5
more.
or 6 to it.
Make we see.
I mean,
Make we see.
small. But Elikem, let me start with how you felt your first child. How did you feel? I mean, you always knew you were going to have kids. You've seen your father, you know, and your siblings.
Yeah.
What was it like for you when she said, Charlie? How did she say? Let me not put it in your mouth. Tell me the story.
Do I remember how Pokelo broke the news to me?
If you don't
Yes, she had
remember.
traveled to Ghana. No, I'm lying. She was in China when she broke the news to me. She had traveled to Ghana, and we did the Logoligi because she was in Zimbabwe. And then she traveled to China right after. So like a couple weeks to 3 weeks later, she broke the news to me. She wasn't in Ghana. And we're trying to look into it for a while, what are the possibilities of having a child. And then she got pregnant. So it was exciting news for us. We started antenatal, we go, we come, we're excited about the child. When it was speculated for the child to come out, for Tristan to come out, Pokelo couldn't wait any longer. She was tired. So we went and,
Were you going to the antenatal and post-antenatal?
Yeah. So when you're having a cesarean section, you can choose to take the child whenever it's ripe. So the child has your 42 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Then they can come out, your 9 months, your supposed 9 months. Some children stay longer, but there's a time frame within which the child is ripe to come out. And so Tristan came out. I was in the hospital that day. In the operating room, I had videos I got pictures taken. I always have to cut the umbilical cord when the child comes out. That's my responsibility. No one else touches the scissors. Just give it to me. I'll do the job. All my children, from Tristan to Posse to Malike, every one of them. And it's an exciting feeling for me, to be the one to usher you into the real world. And that's the connection for me and my children.
Were you ready when she told you this?
Not really, but look, in life, you're never ready for anything. You can plan, you can prepare, but life will knock you on your blind side, And so I always leave room for spontaneity. I always leave room for, what could be, could not be. Even as a father, you don't know what's going to happen with your child in 15 years. Yeah. You're just going by the leap of faith and doing all you can, all you know as a father to raise the child well. One day you'll be there and a phone call will come that your child has been locked up in the police station because they followed some friends who stole a laptop that he knows nothing about. I'm expecting those calls. It happened to some of my brothers. It happened to some of us. You get into some unknown trouble or known trouble for,
Keep that for
and
me. I'm
so
going
on
to
and
ask
so
you what
forth.
you're going to do in certain cases when your children find themselves. But let me go back to Richard Akita, who's with us via Zoom. And I know you'll be smiling and happy at the conversation this morning. I asked him if he was ready, and he said you were never ready. So I'd like to ask you, you're an older father. Richard, let me ask you, how many kids do you have, if you have any?
3.
3.
2.
2.
Oh,
great.
I thought it was 3. I was going to lift the hand up to you, the father of 3.
Elikem is ahead of me.
Just by 1.
So I'd like to know, is there ever a good time to be a father? When should anyone be a father?
In actual fact, there's never a good time to be a father. And I agree with Elikem. You can't prepare for it. This is not, okay, my machine is doing some funny things here.
But we can see you clearly, yeah.
Okay. It's not a situation where it's like a mass test, and when you fail, you go and try again. A child is ready. And once you have that child, you've got to do your best. At the beginning, I gave a lot of descriptives of what a father is supposed to be. But none of us match that description. And what we do is that we take it on a daily basis. So we are learning how to be fathers.
Right.
The best training we get is from our father or the man who took time out to invest in us. So that gives us a foundation. And we build on top of that. So you can see from Elikem's narration, he's a father and he has certain things he wants to do. There are things that his father did that I mean, all of us, none of our fathers were perfect. So there's something he's done which you don't like. So you want to change it.
Right.
But let me give you the good news. Your children will also grow up and they'll also say that, well, there's something my dad did that I didn't like. So that cycle never stops. But what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that our impact in our children's life is one lasting. We create moments with them so that as we do these things, all our mistakes will be overshadowed by the good we did. And that is the key thing. And every father listening to us, I'm challenging you, spending time with your children, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, that is all they need. They don't need 24 hours from you. And we just got to invest in them. Be the listening ear, because if you don't listen to them, somebody else will. Okay? And let me put this, the adage that somebody catches the fish and then somebody else cooks the fish. This narrative is a great one. The man goes out there to catch the fish. And when he brings the fish home, he gives the fish to his wife. And mommy cooks the fish. Nobody bites the hand that feeds it. So children grow up and they are more attached to their mothers than the fathers, because the fathers have been sacrificing to make sure that there's food in the house. And in our old age as fathers, we suffer a lot more mental illness because we are left by ourselves. We haven't created that connection with our children. So Elikem and Karim, Godwin, as you're having children, make sure you're spending time with them so that even in their 30s and in their 40s, they can still hug you, kiss you publicly, and say, I love you, Dad. And that is the best ththing you can get. You can't get it all good, perfect, but the ones you can get perfect, hone in on that and maximize on that.
Richard, I'm staying with you, and I'm going to come back to you, but I'm staying with you. You want to chip in?
Not quickly, to cut you and what's going on, but Richard said something that's very profound, and I want to touch on it quickly before we go so I don't lose it. Because it's important as fathers that we're having this conversation and other fathers are watching. You said two things that caught me. The first one is about investing in the children. And I like the fact that you specifically used the word invest. Remember we're having this conversation before the cameras rolled about investing in children and then the children coming back to take care of you. Now, the word invest is very important because when you invest in something, it pays you back in the future, back in terms of interest or brings you money back. And so the word invest there is critical because when you're taking care of your child, not just by taking him to an expensive school or, buying him expensive clothes, when you're giving him that 5 minutes a day to correct some small wrong that he brings to the table. My partner's little sister, Lucky, I've taken her as a daughter right now. Every time she sits in the car when I pick her up from school, she has a story to tell. And listening to those things can easily make me, give her a little bit of advice or, chip in somewhere. And those are the little pockets and moments in life that, these children grow up with and they remember these things. So investment in children is so that in the future, even if they're not giving you money every month, because we said if you have 9 children and each gives you 500 cedis a month, that's 4,500 already. But even if they're not giving you money back, it's just the love they'll show you. And so that in your old age, I mentioned when you're 60, you sit on the beach with your glass of whiskey and your cigar, and I'm imagining my kids running on the sand from the beach house saying, Daddy, Daddy, give me a few kisses, we have a bonfire, we grill some meat.
In the movie, in the drama, and the movie.
Look, when I picture it, it comes to life. And then the last thing, apart from investment, you were talking about, the kids and what you leave, what you leave in them, the time you leave in them. And T.D. Jakes said this, that it's not what you leave for your child, it's what you leave in them. And so when you leave them money and property and you don't leave in them the discipline of
wisdom, character,
knowledge, how to even manage the property, they're going to lose it. And so very profound over there. And I just wanted to touch on it. Thanks for, adding on and concreting and cementing my ideology about fatherhood.
Okay, Richard, like I said, I'll take you back. I just want to invite our viewers who may have questions and contributions to do so via our WhatsApp number 055-033-1511, 055-033-1511. Do send in your messages and I'll read them out. But Richard, I want to come back and ask you this. I asked whether when is it ready for anybody to be a father, and he said there's never a good time. So I want to know, there are many young men out there who, they would love to be fathers, But I think society, in a way, and perhaps what we've heard also from our parents and how they struggled to take care of us, has made us also want to wait till we are mostly financially ready before you want to have kids. Karim is agreeing with me. You can tell the non-fathers we are in sync. You know, don't you think that sometimes as a man you want to... Richard?
I'm back.
Oh, right. You made... Okay, let me take it again. I was asking you that you did say that there's never a good time for anyone to be a father. You know, you can just be a father. There are the cases where, you know, you went to do that something and then accidentally, you know, the girl gets pregnant and you know. But when you are conscious and you say, you know what, I want to have kids at a certain time in my life, because of perhaps societal narratives and what our parents have told us and how they struggle to take care of us and all that, don't you think that sometimes you should be financially ready before bringing another person into this world?
It is important for all of us to plan. But you see, even in planning, having children, you can't plan that. You may wish I want to have children at a particular age, but they will come when they are ready. But there are what I call, there are a few things that we need to do as men first. And in our season of singleness, I challenge every man to understand who he is first. Because there are three parts that we play in this life.
Okay.
First, we are men. And we need to understand who we are. We need to understand. So if you're talking about finances, get your finances sorted. Make sure that you have your clear vision of where you're going. Ensure that in all the things you're doing, you are able to forgive yourself. You're able to laugh at yourself. You don't take life too seriously. Yeah? Make sure that the circle of friends you have are one that is adding to you. Let me even give you this quick, using the mathematical signs. Have friends that are plus signs. They are adding to you. Have friends that are multiplication. They are multiplying you. And watch out for the friends who come and divide you. And watch out for the friends who come and subtract from you. So you've got to know who you are. Have your values. And once you have these things, you're going to now get in. I mean, if you are married, ideally, that's the best way. But sometimes, in the heat of the moment, we forget marriage and we go and we do the do. Once you've done the thing and the baby's coming, you've now got to ask yourself, what do I need to do? And this is where the sacrifice or the sacrificial part of fathers come in.
Right.
Because you may not have the money, and majority of us may not be financially secure, but some may be financially independent. So if you're not secure, you know that my child is coming. You have at least 9 months to start sorting yourself out. In those 9 months, take all the risk you can, because the higher the risk, the higher the reward. And start putting in place all the things that you need to do. Elikem talks about T.D. Jakes talking about what you leave in your children. And if we look at scripture, for example, God did 5 days of creating. So he put infrastructure in place before he brought man on the 6th day. So I challenge all men, even if you don't have the money and your spouse is pregnant or your girlfriend is pregnant, once you accept responsibility, it is amazing how the God in his love will give you the provision so that you can be the provider. And once you have that, I challenge you, put your mind to it, work as hard as you can, and get the finances right. None of us were multimillionaires when our children were born. Elikem is on his way to be a millionaire.
Amen. I receive it.
We are all hustling to get to that place.
Right.
And it takes a lot of effort. And it is that season of knowing how to have this work-life balance, how to be able to put things together. And once you can do that, that's one of the first things I discovered. When my wife was pregnant, my mom told me, we were not in a good place. My mom said to me, God gives the child and God will supply the need.
Yeah.
And I tell you something, even though my finances were in the worst state ever, our children never went hungry. They always got something to eat. And sometimes my wife and I may not eat so that the children will eat. These are some of the things we learn as fathers, or should I say, even as parents. We learn to be sacrificial so that our children will have the opportunity to get the best thing in their world. So finances are good. If you can sort it out before then. But if your trouser can't makes the decision quicker than your finances, when the baby's coming, please just sort out and start working on the finances.
Keep this for me, Richard. I've had so many men say, having a child changes your perspective. When you're a man and you're expecting a child, it just changes everything. When you have the child, it's just something else. So I want to ask you what having a child does to a man. Please hold on for me. Karim, are you ready?
Yeah.
You ready to have a...
I am. It's something that's been at the back of my head for quite some time now. I mean, even though I'm not married yet, so the options are within, the next couple of years that you've given yourself, identify...
Couple of years, 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
2 years,
2 years.
Literally.
Identify someone who, has the same mentality as you, someone who is ready to settle down, someone you see, raising your kids the way you expect your kids to be raised, and settle down and have babies. Because I'm pretty young, I want to grow up with my children. I want to be 50 and have my kids.
I had my first child at 26. How old do you want to have yours?
So I'm 26 now.
Okay.
So
in a couple of years, by the 28-ish.
You understand?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but anything will happen. So
right.
we did stand by.
Always.
Yeah.
We did stand by.
Yeah, but I definitely want. And for me, fortunately, I have over 20 nephews and nieces.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you know what it's like.
So exactly. So I literally, and most of my sisters before they give birth, I'm mostly around sometimes through the whole 9-month period. So I know what it feels like.
With them.
Yeah,
you already have experience.
So that be the thing. I did do homework and things. I did take kiddies.
You guys painted a very beautiful picture. I mean, about growing up, family, and all that. Is there nothing that shook you a bit about being a father? Like, no challenge that made you feel like, Charlie, this father thing, I'm not sure it's for me, or I don't know if I want to do it. Is there nothing at all?
The challenges were there, obviously, especially in my case. 9 kids, it means that resources have to be distributed, evenly to ensure that everyone gets a bit, a bit of it. And so a point where I got scared was when I had to be moved from, nice DB school. I had to, I had to be moved
because the money has to go around.
You understand?
If it was 5, you go stay at that bad school, but 9 there, you forgo side too small, make the money spread.
So I had to move. Then things were pretty tough at the time, and obviously the old, you could see, it had a toll on the old man. I know that he wasn't working at the time, and So then I asked myself, hey, Charlie, this fatherhood thing, so he did. I will go manage him. I mean, but then as the name, Richard, as Richard said that, God provides. And I think that in our case, that's what literally happened. Because I sit with my dad a lot and we talk, and he tells me how he managed to take care of all 9 of us, put us through university, how he had to save money, how he put up a house. Before building a house, he had bought everything he needed to build a house. But when he put up the structure and realized that, well, I also needed to educate my kids, then he had to sell a lot of the materials that he had bought to finish the house, and just to make sure that, we're taken through school, we had the care and all of that we needed. And then I realized, well, indeed, God actually provides. And then, what happened? Eventually, we came to complete the house for him.
See, investment, there you go.
Eventually, we came to complete the house for him. He has a car, he drives wherever he wants to go to.
And 500 cedis a month. He doesn't have to work again.
I'm probably sure he even gets more than that. Wow. But that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. That you grow up in your old age, you still have your kids wanting to come around you. You still have your kids calling you every day, and every year it's like a ritual. We call him on conference call, all of us.
Do you have friends? Sorry, do you have friends who don't want to have kids at all?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, so many of them.
Do you think there's something wrong with them?
Well, people, sometimes everyone in the kind of environment they grew up in. For some people, the environment they grew up in, I've got them thinking like that, and you can't blame them. Maybe some childhood trauma, some things that happened when they were growing up, and you can't seem to blame them. Someone will tell you, my parents never had time for me. I had to figure life out all by myself, and I don't want to bring another person into this world to come and go through the same thing. So you know what? I'm just not going to have kids. And that's fine. Not all of us can have kids.
I know my mom will call me after the show and say, "Ben, I'm a real advising me." Richard, back to you. What does having a child do to a man, honestly? How does it change a man's life?
It ushers you into fatherhood.
Okay.
And I started talking about the 3 parts of a man. And, the ideal is learn to be a man, learn to be a husband, and the third part is then become a father. That is the ideal. Sometimes we tend to mix it up a bit, but once you're a father, that is for life. But the responsibility of other life weighs on you. And part of, for me, when my wife, once my daughter was born, I looked at her at the hospital, I picked her up, and that very moment, the weight of what was in store became real. She's giving us a granddaughter at the moment. Wow. But the beauty is this: even at the time when I held her, I knew that the time I had with her was going to be very limited. And it's amazing that 32 years have gone past already. Wow. And it's like I'm looking at it.
The way I'm saying it is like very soon my daughter will also be having a daughter. I need to spend the time right. Yeah, because it's just like yesterday, and today it's 32 years already.
Yeah. So I encourage men. It will challenge everything about you. It would. You see, this is why I said learn to be a man first. If you have your values, and you have the principles, the things you believe in, if you are established in those areas, it makes it easier for you to negotiate and to compromise or to make adjustments as you go along. But for most of us, we do it. We don't know all the things that we need to do. So you get a child is born, and sadly, the woman becomes a mother and a father because the man is still trying to find or define who he is.
Right.
And that is one of the tragedies of the way our boys are being brought up. You bring up a boy to think he is the head, he doesn't do anything in the house. He will grow up and he will frustrate somebody's daughter.
Yeah, right.
And not only that, but the apron strings are never cut. So he's still a mommy's boy. He's a grown man, but in a little boy in a grown man's body. He will frustrate that woman. When that child comes, you've got to learn to be the one that protects. Both of you will protect, but there is that sense of protection. And Elikem, it sounds like you have a daughter.
Yes, fresh
the link
out of the
between
oven.
yourself and your daughter. How do you? When even at her age now, when young men are looking at her, how does that make you feel?
So my daughter is only a month and a half old. She's getting towards 2 months.
She's coming.
So she's coming. Yes.
Okay.
But I know what you mean. Sometimes I look at her laying down or getting breastfed, and I'm thinking, what's this girl going to become? Her nice body, her shape, then some man won't run up Charlie. Because her mother is a fine girl, so she's going to be anything like her mother. And some guy like me will want to chase her like I chased her mother. How will I feel about it? So those things have gone through my head, Charlie.
What I suggest is this, and I think for all fathers, we tend to look at the things we've done to other people's daughters and think that somebody will do it to your daughter.
Yes.
But there's a cure for this. Invest in your daughter. Let her understand her value.
Right.
Let her understand her worth. And then any man that comes along will not do what you did to somebody else's daughter.
Right. If what you did was that.
And then for your sons, I ask you, teach them how to be a man.
Right.
Teach the man how to be a man. I'm not saying be overly hard on him, but let the boy understand that in this world, or should I say in these days, our gender is questioned.
Yeah.
So allow the boy to have confidence and allow the girl to be confident as well. And statistics tells us that when a father is in the life of his children, the daughters actually excel in school and the boys become pillars of society.
Beautiful.
So that investment is key. And for those whose fathers have not been around, there has been somebody who's been investing in you. And I say to you, look at those values. Calling somebody daddy, which we do in Ghana all the time, for me, devalues the word daddy. Because a father is not just any person. And I encourage people that, hey, if your father has not been around and you've had uncles or you've had family friends who have been looking after you, then they have taken that role as a father. And that is supposed to be your foundation. Don't be so hung up on what your biological father didn't do for you. It hurts, I understand. But focus on the people who have invested in you and build your life from there. Those of us who have been blessed and lucky to have a father, it's easy for us. But those who haven't, I say to you, forgive him and forgive yourself for hanging on to those emotions.
Beautiful. Elegam, hold on to your question. No. Richard, do you think that modernism is impacting fatherhood?
Hey, please, it's Friday. This English you're asking me.
Do you think that in the age and a world of social media, the call for equity, equality, feminism, someone will say, what has feminism got to do with this? But feminism, wokeness, liberalism, do you think that this is somewhat impacting manhood or fatherhood in our world today?
It's funny because my question was actually
Similar
around
to
the same, that who exactly is a man? Because you're talking about us knowing and becoming a man before we embark on such, a fatherhood journey.
Yeah.
And so, who is a man? Or what does it entail? What are the requirements of being or becoming a man?
Beyond the sacrifices you mentioned, sacrificing and being present and all that, honestly.
Well, society has focused very heavily on empowering the girl child, and I support that. But somewhere along the equation, the boy has been left
Neglected.
out. Sadly, if both are sexes, if the male and the female understand their roles in life, there will be no need for feminism. Because if a woman understands what she can do, she does not need a man's approval. So the changes in what's going on in our generation at the moment, okay, I'm an old man now, but in Kareem, this young gentleman now, in your generation, I just want you to understand that men are rising, asking themselves, who am I?
Yeah.
And the need of a father is being reduced by the day. Now, these days, if a woman wants to have a child, she just needs to go to a sperm bank and she can choose which one she wants, pays for it, and she has a child. So the agenda to almost wipe out the male species is so powerful that men are struggling to raise our head beyond the pulpit to say, hey, we are here. But let me tell you, the thing is this, being a man, when I say learn to be a man first, is that do you go by? Is your yes? I mean, are you a man of integrity? Are you a man of excellence? Are you a man who understands that my gift is in academics? My gift is in the work of my hands. I am not defined necessarily by the work that I do, but I'm defined by the life that I live. Can people count on you? And these are some of the qualities that both male and female will have. But for the man, you are going to be able to pass that on to somebody else. Am I teachable? Can I also teach somebody else? So being a man is not watching football, it's not having boys night. It's actually understanding that I'm here to contribute to society. And if it's through having children, thank God for that. If it's through just impacting my community, then I take that role seriously. And once we are able to accept that responsibility of our sex and the things that we can do within the capacity as a man, then when you become a husband, it is then easy for you to then manage the role of a father. That's why you've got to first become a man and learn from your mistakes, so that when you become a father, even when you make mistakes, they are not as impactful, or should I say, they are not as devastating as you were when you were a young man. So I hope this gives you some scope of what a man is supposed to be.
Yes, to some extent. I get that.
I'll
add discipline to that also. when I'm considering all yours, I add a bit of discipline. I think to be a man, you need utmost discipline. You need to, your yes has to be your yes, your no has to be your no. You need to, be prompt for decisions, and the discipline comes with, staying true to yourself and your family. As a man, I don't know why they still believe every man is just a dog. It can be true, because it's easy for a man to want to see another thing and want to go into that. And those kinds of situations also destroys families. And so the discipline of, staying home,
self-control,
and seeing to your home also is very important. And the discipline of how you spend money, when you spend money, especially when you have a family. You can easily have your boys' night and, buy drinks for all the boys on the table, but it's your daughter's school fees paid. You can have a side chick and want to buy her wig for 2,000 cedis, but it's your son's school fees paid.
I know someone who sells hair. She will say that one there is very important. That one there is very important. So let's. The
conversation is broad.
I'm telling you, and our time is so limited. We are almost done with this conversation. I wish we had enough time to exhaust this, but let me. So I have a young father here. I have a yet to be father here. I'm going to ask you certain situations and know what you do. So Elikem, for you, the kids are young now, but projecting some few years from now, if you caught your son or your daughter watching pornography, what would you do?
I haven't thought that far.
You haven't gone there
but
yet.
Hey, see, to be very honest, I don't know if my mom is watching. She called me a few minutes. Which channel is it? I can't find it. But there was this book when I was young, under the bed somewhere that I used to open up. There were pictures in there. And, you get naughty and nasty ideas. I was never caught. But yes, because it happened when I was a child, it's possible it can happen to my children.
Yeah.
If I catch them, conversation. Have a conversation with your kids.
Conversation.
You would want to grow up with your kids feeling comfortable to talk with you. Like I'm saying, Lucky jumps into the car when I pick her up from school, and she's already telling me, and this girl was shouting at me, and I shouted at her back, and we had a fight. And I'm like, wow, I'm happy she's comfortable telling me she fought at school. And I can easily say to her, hey, Charlie, fighting is not good. You're a lady. Look at you, beautiful girl with nice skin. Why you want to go and be shouting in public? Pose yourself and keep quiet. Flex. When she comes at you, just relax, and you have the upper hand. So getting comfortable with your children gets them to have a conversation. So I'm hoping I can build that same relationship with my children where I can catch them and be like, hey, Charlie, what are you watching? And they'll be like, oh,
you won't be devastated.
Like,
you won't be.
No, because you would want to know from which angle and what they're using it for and how they're using it. So
you want to know what they're using it for?
Charlie,
you have time to
believe me. Otherwise, look, you go and scream at the child and don't watch this again and hit them. They might just because the influence is from school.
Yeah.
So having a conversation might let you be aware of the fact that influence is from school. So hey, when you go to school, these friends, don't roll with them because this. Or maybe you want to change their school, or you want to report something to the teacher.
It's not basic. It's basic. What's the word for it? It's not. You don't meet out. What's the word? It's escaping.
No, my mom and my dad were never the beating. My mom and my dad were never.
It's just conversation. You agree?
Yeah.
My mom actually caught me kissing a girl before. And
how old were you?
Her approach.
You started early, I can imagine.
Maybe
14 years old.
Maybe 12. But her approach was not, hey,
shouting
bad
and
boy,
beating. And,
foolish boy. Lashing me with case. She opened the door and saw us and literally just closed the door back.
She left you guys?
She left. And she went outside. Now my mind was racing.
The guilt. She left you with the guilt.
Is she going to be angry? Is she going to this? Is she going to... And I went outside and my mom was just, Elikem, you need to be very careful. There's sicknesses, there's disease, you need this. She actually advised me down to and made me aware of the downsides of wanting to embark on such. And it actually worked.
I think I've told this
and
story
so,
before.
Again, the way I was raised is how I want to raise my children even better.
I think I've told the story before. Not first time, but when my parents caught me watching porn. Yeah. And it was in... They didn't
catch before. You know the sharp guy.
No, they didn't catch me. You remember the days of VCD? You remember the days of VCD?
Yeah.
And I was supposed to go for classes. So my parents
Did you get stuck?
It got stuck. The light went out. ECD messed me up. So the CD was in the VCD.
Oh, yeah,
I had to leave for class. I can't carry the VCD too.
Oh, yeah. No,
so I was just praying that the lights don't come back. I came back from classes. Everybody was quiet in the house.
Like me, I don't go class.
Senior.
Oh, I don't go class.
The CD was put on my clothes. They just left it there. They never said anything. Till now, my dad never said anything. My mom never said anything. They just left it. So the guilt of it and everything just made
Imagine if they wanted to whip you or...
Karim, so you agree with what?
Yeah, I agree with Elikem. See, the thing is that with the way society has become, if you do not pay closer attention to your kids and give them that room to want to come to you,
They will start identifying with other things that you don't want
other people. They would, go with whatever it is they learn in school, whatever it is they learn from their friends and all of that. And so we need to create that avenue as parents. You see, I'm already talking as a parent. we need to create that avenue as parents where our kids can always come up to us and tell us whatever it is, that's going on, whatever it is that bothers them, whatever. For instance, if you don't give them that room, if you have a daughter, for instance, who goes to school and, they have their teachers touching them in certain places and all of that, they
you
can't
want
come,
for the girl to be able to come and
exactly. So you need to create that room for them. And so, my father never beat me. He never shouted at me or any of us.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, never.
But look at you. You just look like you turned out well.
And
I don't know you, but just looking at you on the surface,
Gentlemen, what I would also say is this: in adding to what everybody's saying, if you catch your children watching these things, watch it with them, and find the motive behind it. Why are they doing it?
Right.
And I remember when my son was watching these things, and I found out. So I watched it with him. I said, okay. So I asked him a simple question: how do you ease yourself when you are aroused?
Right.
Because it wasn't the watching that was my problem.
Yes.
It's the habit of now
into some girl
that builds up after that.
Right.
So it's having that conversation with him, and eventually, when he started, after we spoke, I said, look, if you feel the edge and you want to stop watching it, just call me. And Karen, you're right. Because I had that relationship with him, he would text me that I feel like watching this thing. I said, okay, fine. Then we'll talk about something else. And I gradually helped him to be able to grow out of that phase. Because see, when they get to school, they compare notes. What they've watched, the positions they've seen. Whether it's butterfly or wheelbarrow, all of those.
We all went through those stages.
I'm so sorry. Maya Khalifa. People notice.
But good advice.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we have to go.
The conversation is sweet.
Yeah, I wish we could extend this.
Can I buy more?
Unfortunately, what's with you? What are you doing now that we can join you and help?
So I run a non-profit. It's called the Maltiti Foundation, and the major focus with Maltiti is to provide economic empowerment to women. Reason being that I don't believe solely in the power of charity, because I don't think charity can really solve global problems. It makes people lazy because it would always come. So I want to empower people. I want to teach them to fish for themselves. So that's what I do with Maltiti Foundation.
You on social media?
Yeah, of course, Maltiti Foundation, all across.
Maltiti?
Yeah, Maltiti.
Okay, Maltiti.
Yeah.
All right. Richard Akita, my boss.
Yes,
Thank you so much as well. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
Thank you. So where can we find you on social media?
Akita Richard on Instagram, and Akita Richard on Instagram and TikTok, and then Facebook is Richard Akita.
TikTok.
And LinkedIn, Richard Akita.
So Richard, you're so cool. You're so cool. TikTok.
Can I just use the opportunity?
Please, don't let the great. Can
I use the opportunity quickly? I wrote and directed a fashion film titled Pilolo. You know Pilolo, the game that we used to play when we were kids. Premiering on the 24th, and then it's out for people to watch. So I just want people to get excited about what's coming. There's a fashion film titled Pilolo. It's with my new collection called the Taylor's Sequence. It's a sequence collection, and so look out for it. I'm very happy and excited about this project, and I just want everyone to be on it too. Well, I'm premiering first at Lupita. It's a rooftop at Club Play.
Okay.
And then after, it's going to be on social media platforms, YouTube and so on.
Can't wait for it, bro. Big ups.
No, man.
All the best. All the best. Guys, that's it. That's more on the show. Stay.